Government to announce stimulus package on 27 February. Tun Dr. Mahathir to keep power transition promise. Good evening and thanks for joining us. And you're watching News on 2 with me, Peter Carlos. Now, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad will announce an economic stimulus package on Thursday, 27 February, to cushion the adverse external economic impacts of the COVID-19 outbreak on Malaysia while preserving the welfare of the people. Now, in a statement today, Minister of Finance Lim Guan Eng said the economic stimulus package is neither a new budget nor part of Budget 2020 measures, but an assistance to affected industries. Now, currently, the Finance Ministry is preparing the economic stimulus program and is working together with the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives, and various agencies. Now, Lim said the government is also engaged in consultations with principal players in the tourism, logistics and finance sectors and held meetings with small and medium enterprises as well as government-linked funds and companies. He added the government will adopt measures to assist these companies, but emphasis should also be placed on exploring alternative revenues such as shifting towards encouraging domestic tourism and sourcing from other markets. Lim further called on industry players to assist clients and suppliers so that industries can benefit from the economic rebound. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the authorities' swift action have proven to be effective in preventing the spread of the COVID-19 in the country. Now, he said the early prevention measures to screen all arriving passengers at all the country's entry points have managed to contain the virus from becoming worse. Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad had communicated his solidarity with China President Xi over a phone call as Beijing battles COVID-19.
Kita berjaga-jaga. Daripada awal lagi kita memeriksa semua mereka yang datang ke Malaysia, terutama daripada negara China. Dan kalau kita sangka mereka membawa virus itu, kita masuk mereka dalam kuarantin 14 hari. Orang kita yang ada di Wuhan yang kita bawa balik kena kuarantin 14 hari juga.
He also expressed his appreciation to Chinese President Xi Jinping for taking an extraordinary approach to curb the spread of the virus.
Saya fikir dia membuat apa yang mungkin dilakukan dan dengan ini kita berterima kasih kepada dia dan dia juga menolong supaya kita dapat bawa balik rakyat kita yang ada di sana.
Speaking at a press conference in Langkawi, Tun Dr. Mahathir said health screening on all tourists arriving in Malaysia will continue to be enhanced, especially on the Chinese nationals. He pointed out that most of the 19 positive COVID-19 cases in Malaysia comprised Chinese nationals. The public need to be informed and educated on a regular basis on the dangers of fake news, whether reading them or spreading them, especially in light of the coronavirus epidemic. Dr. Ismail Saragedlin, director of the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, stressed that the public must be aware of what information they receive and read in the social media, and also not to irresponsibly spread them to others without verification.
People should only spread the truth from a trusted source like WHO, like the government of Malaysia, and not spread false rumors.
The world-renowned academician and one-time special advisor to the World Bank was met after presenting a talk entitled Global Ethics for Values Driven Towards Solid Development Goals 2030 at University of Kebangsaan Malaysia in Bangi. 4,000 face masks will be distributed by a travel agency to Malaysian Umrah pilgrims this week, beginning yesterday. Well, according to Chief Umrah Mutawif for Ismazul Sendirian Burhan Abdul Rahim Abdul Wahab, the masks are being given as a precautionary measure in light of the coronavirus or COVID-19 infection. According to Abdul Rahim, the face masks will be distributed to pilgrims at the Sultan Ismail Petra Airport, LTSIP, and Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA. Well, except for a start, the agency gave out 1,000 units of the face masks to pilgrims at LTSIP yesterday.
Tujuan juga untuk kita memberi kesedaran kepada masyarakat negeri Kelantan untuk cakna kepada kesihatan. Pada hari ini kita tengok virus di corona di Malaysia ni 18 kes. Mungkin akan bertambah. Kita doa kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala semoga rakyat Kelantan dilindungi oleh virus ini insya-Allah.
Pilgrims who received the masks also expressed their appreciation to the agency for their concern about their health and well-being.
Sebenarnya sangat berguna kerana keadaan kita bercampur ramai-ramai ni. Bila kita pergi buat menunaikan umrah ni, dia lagi ramai orang. Jadi maknanya dari segi protection untuk keselamatan tu okey lah.
The Johor State government will establish a special task force to oversee the property market in the state if COVID-19 rate is spread in Singapore keeps on increasing in the second quarter of the year. The Johor State Exco, Zulkifli Ahmad, said the situation in Singapore has also indirectly impacted the local property market. According to Zulkifli, the setting up of the task force will depend on the Property Transfer Statistical Survey by the National Property Information Centre and APIC. NAPIC.
NAPIC akan mengeluarkan statistik secara bulanan berkaitan dengan jumlah bina milik hartanah termasuk juga volume ataupun dollar and cent ataupun ringgit Malaysia dia. Mana kita akan memantau kalau pattern dia jumlah bina milik khususnya hartanah warga asing ini ataupun hartanah mewah ini, kemungkinan kita akan mengambil tindakan tersebut tadilah, menubuhkan task force untuk kita menilai langkah-langkah yang sepatutnya diambil oleh kerajaan negeri.
Speaking at the Info on Wheels program in Kulai Johor, the Johor State Exco said Singapore is among the top 10 investors in property market in Malaysia, other than Britain, United States, China and Indonesia. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad reiterated that he will keep his promise to hand over the Prime Minister's post to PKR President Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim after the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC summit, which Malaysia hosts in November this year. Speaking at a press conference in Langkawi, Tun Dr. Mahathir also stressed that he is not aware of the so-called 138 MPs who had signed statutory declarations or SDs in support of him completing a full term as the Prime Minister, as reported in a news portal.
Saya tak terlibat dengan sebarang kegiatan lain. Saya janji saya akan letak jawatan selepas APEC. Itu saya pegang kepada janji saya. Saya tak terlibat dengan yang lain. Saya cuma janji akan letak jawatan, saya akan letak jawatan.
He said this when asked about his meeting with Datuk Seri Anwar in Putrajaya yesterday. Datuk Seri Anwar in his Twitter account said that he had met Tun Dr. Mahathir in Putrajaya to discuss the transition plan for the post of Prime Minister, following claims that PAS, a group from UMNO, and a handful of PKR members were involved in efforts to gather support for Tun Dr. Mahathir to continue his leadership until the end of full term. Well, meanwhile, Parti Keadilan Rakyat PKR Vice President Zuraida Kamarudin said today she had nothing to do with the action of a group of MPs who had allegedly signed a statutory declaration or SD to support Tun Dr. Mahathir as Prime Minister until the current term ends.
Saya tidak ada kepastian dan saya tidak tahu menahu dari segi itu semua.
YB tak ada sign apa?
Saya banyak sign benda lain adalah apa ni untuk Kelantan adalah. Sign plug tadi betul lah. Okay, saya tak terlibat lah. Saya tak terlibat lah.
Terlibat.
Tak terlibat.
Tapi benda tu tak mustahil lah. Bila ada benda.
Ya, semua benda tu betul. Semua saya tak tahu. Allah Ta'ala saja yang tahu.
Zuraida, who is on leave from her Vice President post pending an investigation by the party's disciplinary board, said this to reporters after opening the City Sarah market in Celesting, Pasir Putih, Kelantan. Today, a news portal reported that 138 MPs have signed an SD calling for Tun Dr. Mahathir to serve a full term as Prime Minister. It said those involved included 18 from PAS, 26 from PKR, at least 13 of the 39 UMNO MPs and 26 from Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Bersatu. Yesterday, PKR Secretary General Dato Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the claims were merely rumours. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad gave his thumbs up to the efforts of Rebungan Resort Langkawi for maximising the use of Malaysian-made products to develop it. Now, the resort will be developed on an environment-friendly concept to show its support to the government's initiative to turn Langkawi into a low-carbon island hub. The 12-acre resort will be built in stages and 80% of its construction materials will be made in Malaysia products.
Ini satu perkara yang boleh dilakukan, tapi ramai daripada kita lebih mudah beli daripada negara lain. Sedangkan di negara kita ini, kita mempunyai bahan binaan yang mencukupi untuk segala keperluan kita. Saya harap perancangan yang lain juga akan tiru pendekatan resort ini, iaitu menggunakan local material as much as possible.
Speaking after visiting the resort area in Paranggaung, Mukim Ulu Melaka, the Premier said once completed, the resort will be able to offer job opportunities, especially to locals, and is expected to be fully operational after the Aidilfitri celebrations. And some stories from the court. The 19th prosecution witness in the murder trial of Cradle Fund Chief Executive Officer Nazrin Hassan told the High Court today that he found out about the police report on the death threat made on the victim from YouTube. Now, Dr. Malik Rizwan Hassan also said he had never seen the police report made by Nazrin. Now, principal lawyer for the defense, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, said the information Dr. Malik obtained from YouTube, who is also former Nazrin's personal assistant, cannot be used in the trial. Now, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi also said that the request to exhume Nazrin's body, purportedly to perform a second autopsy following questionable circumstances surrounding Nazrin's death, was made by Dr. Malik, who had never read the first autopsy report. Now, Nazrin, 45, died in a fire that broke out at his two-story house in Mutiara Damansara on 14 June. Now, police reclassified Nazrin's death as murder under Section 302 of the Penal Code on 3rd August, and his widow, Samira Muzaffar, and her first husband, Nizam Maidin, were arrested early last month, as were their two sons, aged 16 and 14. The Seremban Sessions Court set 26 March for re-mention of the case involving 19 men charged with becoming members of the Geng Kabali organized crime group. Judge Madiha Haroa fixed the date after Deputy Public Prosecutors Muhammad Isanuddin Alias and Muhammad Ashraf Minhad requested a new date to submit the forensic report, which to date has not been obtained. Muhammad Isanuddin, when met by the media after today's proceedings, said the prosecution also intends to submit an application to transfer the case to the High Court. Prior to this, the court had denied bail for all the accused on the grounds that bail appeal can be made at the High Court. The accused are Kamal Raj, S. Ilangovan, L. Navin Raj, and S. Sivabalan were represented by counsels V. Munyandi and P. Rajsuryan, while S. Vivan and K. Sarugunan were represented by lawyer A. Parthiban. S. Prabhu, TSG Ravi Kumar and TSG Karthik were represented by Go Chi Kyan and Paul Krishna Raja, while S.S. Subramaniam was represented by S. Karthikesan. The remaining 9, SRC Prakash Rao, U. Karthik, B. Kalayarasan, G. Yugaraj, K. Shahitar, G. Murali, G. Tanaselan, G. Karthik Raja, and M. Puspalingam were not represented. On 9th January, the 19 men were charged in the Sessions Court with becoming members of the Geng Kabali organized crime group. All of them, aged between 18 and 50, were charged with committing the offense in Seremban between 1st February and 27 November last year. Well, earlier, the 19 were brought to the court complex at 9 a.m. amidst tight police security throughout the proceeding. The police arrested 8 men for breaking into a house at Jalan Sultanah in Al-Ustar, Kedah. Now, in the incident, the neighbor of the victim lodged a police report after noticing a suspicious lorry parked in front of the victim's house, who was not in the house at the time. Kota Star Police Chief ACP Muhammad Rozi Jidin in a statement said the police immediately dispatched a team after receiving the report. He added that police promptly arrested the suspects, including the mastermind, who was a hawker. The main suspect also has previous records related to drug offences. Following the arrest, ACP Muhammad Rozi said another suspect was detained this morning. He said the case is being investigated under Section 457 of the Penal Code for breaking into a house to commit burglary. And that concludes this evening's News on 2. And our top story, government to announce stimulus package on 27 February. Now do join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for the noon updates. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant evening.